In recent weeks, a trend has begun to take shape in the artificial intelligence and robotics industry that could radically change humanity's attitude toward physical AI. And at the center of this shift is Elon Musk. According to sources close to Tesla, as well as leaks discussed among analysts from Bloomberg and Reuters, the company is preparing to launch an updated version of its humanoid robot Tesla Optimus with a fundamentally new safety protocol, which internally is already unofficially called the Human First Protocol. And while previously discussions about AI safety were mostly limited to software restrictions, now we are talking about the physical level of interaction between machine and human, where the priority becomes absolute and unconditional. Human life is above any task, algorithm, or command. The essence of this protocol, according to insiders, is that regardless of the robot's current task, whether it is working in manufacturing, logistics, assisting at home, or interacting in a public environment, at the slightest sign of a threat to human life, the system instantly switches into a priority rescue mode. This is not just a set of rules, but a fundamental decision-making architecture embedded at the level of the neural network core and sensor system. Essentially, it means that the robot is given an equivalent of an instinct, where the detection of danger automatically overrides all other processes. If a person falls, if there is a gas leak, if a fire starts, or even if algorithms detect abnormal human behavior that may indicate risk, the robot is required to intervene. Inside Tesla, this concept is viewed as a critically important step in the era of transition from digital AI to physical AI, where artificial intelligence no longer just answers questions, but acts in the real world. And it is precisely this transition that causes the greatest concerns in society. Until now, most people have perceived AI as something abstract, an application, a voice assistant, or a chatbot. But humanoid robots like Tesla Optimus are changing the rules of the game. They move, interact with objects, can physically influence the environment, and in this context, the question of safety becomes not just important, but decisive for the future of the entire industry. According to analysts, such a protocol is not only a technological solution, but also a strategic move. At a time when more and more companies are entering the race to create humanoid robots, from Figure AI to Boston Dynamics, the issue of user trust becomes a key factor. And if Tesla truly becomes the first to implement a universal standard prioritizing human life, it could set a new benchmark for the entire industry. Sources claim that within the company, there are already discussions about making this protocol an open standard that other manufacturers could adopt. But even more interesting is how this protocol changes the very role of robots in society. If previously the main use case was considered to be labor automation, replacing humans in manufacturing or services, now the emphasis is beginning to shift toward rescue and protection. Imagine a city where robots not only perform tasks, but actively prevent tragedies. For example, in the event of a car accident, a robot nearby could instantly assess the situation, extract an injured person, provide first aid, and call emergency services. In the case of a fire, a robot could enter a building where it is dangerous for humans to be and evacuate people from the risk zone. This protocol becomes especially important for emergency services. According to sources, NASA and a number of European research centers are already showing interest in such systems, considering them for use in extreme conditions, from space missions to disaster response. Robots programmed with rescue priority can operate in radiation zones, under rubble, and in chemically hazardous environments where human presence is limited or impossible. Special attention should be given to the scenario of everyday life. In homes where such robots appear, the level of safety could increase significantly. A robot is capable of monitoring health conditions, detecting falls, and controlling potentially dangerous situations such as a stove left on or a gas leak. For elderly people, this could become a real breakthrough, allowing them to maintain independence without the constant presence of a caregiver. And it is precisely such use cases, according to analysts, that could become key to the mass adoption of the technology. However, implementing such a protocol is not only about opportunities, but also complex engineering challenges. A robot must not only recognize a threat, but also make decisions under conditions of uncertainty. For example, if there is a risk to several people simultaneously, how should it determine priority? If executing a user's command could lead to potential danger, should the robot ignore it? According to sources, Tesla is actively testing various scenarios, using simulations and real-world trials to minimize errors. A separate aspect is protection against misuse. One of the main reasons for implementing the human-first protocol is said to be the risk that humanoid robots could fall into the wrong hands. Unlike software AI, a physical robot can be used for direct impact on people, and this raises serious concerns. The new protocol is intended to act as a kind of safeguard that makes it impossible to use the robot to harm a human. Even if a user attempts to issue such a command, the system must block it. Interestingly, this approach largely echoes the classic principles of the 3 laws of robotics formulated by Isaac Asimov back in the 20th century. However, unlike the literary concept, here we are talking about a real engineering implementation where each rule must be clearly formalized and tested. From an economic point of view, the emergence of such robots could open an entirely new market. According to preliminary estimates by analysts, the cost of the first commercial versions of the updated Tesla Optimus may be in the range of $20,000 to $30,000, making them comparable to mid-range cars. At the same time, as production scales, the price could decrease significantly, opening access to the technology for a wider audience. But perhaps the most important effect is psychological. The fear of robots, which has been formed over decades under the influence of pop culture and science fiction, may begin to disappear. When people see that robots are not only safe but also actively saving lives, attitudes toward them will change. They will stop being perceived as a potential threat and will begin to be seen as reliable assistants and even protectors. According to experts, this scenario could become a turning point in the integration of AI into everyday life. If previously the main question sounded like can machines be trusted, now it may transform into how quickly we are ready to let them into our lives. And if Elon Musk truly implements this protocol in practice and presents it together with a new version of Tesla Optimus, it could become one of the most significant technological announcements of the coming years. Sources claim that the presentation of the updated robot may take place as part of one of Tesla's major events, where the company plans to demonstrate not only new capabilities of Optimus, but also real-life rescue scenarios. And if these demonstrations prove convincing, the industry may face a new standard that will be impossible to ignore. Such an approach could significantly accelerate the adoption of robots by ordinary people. As a result, Tesla Optimus will stop being just a machine for work and will become a true assistant to which one can entrust their safety.